TFA. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into week 3, the game day show, the pregame show, getting all you guys ready to set your lineups, answering all your questions as they come in. So if you're rocking with us live on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you are not yet subscribed, start dropping your questions into the chat. Kev is going to be rocking with us, even though his seat is empty right now. He is on baby duty, so he might be popping in and out. Might have a baby in his arms. Might be rocking it. Hey, might help us with a wider audience, right? It's going to humanize Kev. You know, he always comes in, tries to be this hard ass, this badass, always getting in people's faces. And how are you going to do that with a baby in your arm? You know what I mean?
You can't, man. And I think we're more likely to start the show with Kev out of his seat than with him in the seat, which is, I think people prefer that. And then he just pops in randomly at some point, so gets the crowd going.
He needs like intro music whenever he starts, whenever he walks
breaking,
in.
Glass breaks, Stone Cold music. Let's go.
But yeah, man, excited for week 3. We have some good games on tap, man. Your Cowboys facing off with the Seahawks gives us the highest over under on the week at 56.5. We also have the Lions and Cardinals game. That's the second highest over under that is coming in at a 4:30 time slot as well. And then Packers Saints. Michael Thomas is going to be out. Devontae Adams is doubtful. I can't imagine that he goes, but hopefully that'll be a good game there as well. I just want to rattle off some of the more important inactives for your fantasy teams right now. We have a laundry list, man. We're looking at A.J. Brown, George Kittle, Cam Akers, Zach Moss, Henry Ruggs, James White, Jalen Reagor, basically the entire 49ers offense, Garoppolo, Kittle, Coleman, Mostert, Christian Kirk is out, Drew Lock is obviously out, Phillip Lindsay is doubtful. I can't imagine he goes. Jamison Crowder, Brashad Perriman, like we already mentioned, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, I'm sure those guys are going to be out as well. Obviously, the 2 stud running backs, the top 2 picks of most fantasy leagues are also out this week. So it's 2020, right? What else is there to say? It's 2020. So
Will Fuller is healthy, though. I wanted to note that it's 2020, and Will Fuller had a hamstring last week, but he's good to go. So that is the most 2020 thing I've ever heard.
Like I said, it is full 2020. So we have Max Packard rocking with us already in the YouTube chat. Wants to know, should I start Traequan Smith or pick up Scantling and start him instead?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I think Traequan actually showed a lot of rapport with Drew Brees, with Michael Thomas out. We weren't sure if it was going to be Emmanuel Sanders or Traequan, and I think he showed that he was kind of that first wide receiver for Brees. So I think he's a little bit safer than MVS. I don't know who Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints is going to guard between MVS and Lazard, and he probably will just guard whoever's on his side of the field. But no Devontae Adams. You're really hoping for a deep shot with MVS. I kind of trust Traequan a little bit more. Who do you got?
It seemed like during that game, Traequan was doing a lot, but then like his stat line at the end of the game didn't really seem to match up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I would imagine that Lazard is going to see Lattimore.
Tough to call.
That is close. I mean, we have Kev rocking coming in with the baby, just carrying all the equipment needed to be a good father.
Do we have to turn the volume down now? Is this nighttime, quiet time?
Kevin's just gonna hold up like a yes and a no sign. He just gonna.
That's how dedicated I am to this. Baby and all.
So not sure if you heard that question. We're kind of tiptoeing around this one that we have from Max. He has Traequan Smith in his lineup right now, but would you debate on picking up MVS and starting him over Traequan? That's close. That's close.
Yeah, I think I would.
There you have it. Next question comes in also from Max. Ingram or Devonta Freeman?
Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of Devonta Freeman questions, but I can't. You can't play him this week. There's no way that he just comes in off the street and gets a bunch of touches, right? Like I'm sure he's going to be rotated in, but he's going to be rotated in with two other running backs as well. So, and hopefully you are not in any situation where you have to start Devonta Freeman. Justin T back in the YouTube chat with us. Half PPR need two of the following this week: Marvin Jones, Russell Gage, Joshua Kelly. I'm going to lock in Russell Gage for this one, regardless of whether or not Julio is playing. I noticed a question there from Philip asking about Julio. Seems like he's a game time decision, but with anybody, let alone Julio, I wouldn't want to be messing around with a hamstring or, a soft tissue injury like that. So that one doesn't really have any effect for me. So I'm still going to be playing Russell Gage. Who do you guys like between Marvin Jones and Joshua Kelly?
Yeah, I think this is a smash Josh Kelly game. Carolina's been bad for 2 weeks in a row. First against Josh Jacobs, gave up 3 touchdowns, then gave up 3 touchdowns, 2 to Leonard Fournette and 1 to Rojo last week. So if we're talking about a good game script, and Josh Kelly got 23 carries last game, it's really hard to sit Joshua Kelly. I think he is basically a running back 2 from at least myself. Kev, are you kind of same with Josh Kelly this week?
No, I would go Marvin Jones here. Like with Kenny Golladay back, like that changes his entire offense, and I think that this game has Vegas thinks it's a shootout. I think it's a 56 total, which I want action on. And so like I said, like I think with getting Kenny Golladay back, I think that changes the complexion of this whole entire offense. I don't think that Kenny Golladay is 100% healthy by any means, but I think just having him out there, he's probably going to see a lot of Patrick Peterson, which will open up Marvin Jones. He's not going to see all that coverage, so I feel fine about playing Marvin Jones.
Peter Roscoe wants to know Evan Ingram or Jonnu Smith, half PPR.
Hard to sit Jonnu right now. Really hard to sit Jonnu, especially with A.J. Brown out. I would probably go Jonnu, but they're pretty close in my rankings. I think they're probably separated by 1 or 2 spots.
I think that one's tough because if you look at Jonnu, like Jonnu was as efficient as you could be last week. He only had 5 targets. He's not seeing a heavy target share. So it's going to really depend because, again, Vegas has this game as a 49, which is pretty high. I felt like this game should be like a 42, 43. 2 teams that really want to run the football, but I'm not sure what Vegas sees in this game. But, so it's tough for him because I feel like with Evan Ingram, now with Sterling Shepard out, like he could see 7 to 10 targets in this game. And so I would probably lean more towards a guy who's going to get more volume, and that's probably Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I think the reason I like Jonnu, obviously he went off. He was tight end 1. I think he's tight end 1 on the year. Maybe Higbee kind of jumped to last week, but Minnesota is just so beat up defensively. I mean, they lost Anthony Barr. I mean, they do have good safeties. That's like their one piece left, honestly. But that has a 50 over under. So if you want to talk about points on points, Ryan Tannehill's going to be going for him and Corey Davis and not much else. They're probably going to run the ball, obviously, a ton like they normally do, but if you're banking on a tight end to probably score this week, I feel like Jonnu is going to be one of my top options there.
I like Evan Ingram. I think I would roll with him. Maybe Jonnu is the safer play, but I think Ingram is first or second in routes run among tight ends. So, like I said, with Shepard being out. You want to talk about a defense that's just completely ravaged by injuries. Look no further than the San Francisco 49ers. Dre Greenlaw, one of their linebackers, is going to be out, so that should help. Obviously, no Bosa, no Solomon Thomas, so hopefully not a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones either. So and then with that running game, like I think that's just going to be a complete mess this week. So the over-under for that game for the 49ers and Giants is what is 42.5, and kind of what Kev said he thought that the Titans and Vikings would be. I think that Tennessee-Minnesota game, I agree with Kev. Not sure why that total got so high. I'm not exactly sure what it opened at, but sitting at 49.5, I can't imagine that got bet up too high. So I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram there.
Yeah, it opened at 45.5, and I think what we're saying is they're both
Yikes.
good plays this week. So you can't really go wrong either way. But yeah, both good plays.
Got another Mark Ingram question: Mark Ingram or Todd Gurley? Robby, what do you think here? You were the you were the Gurley stand coming into this year. How are you feeling about these two?
Yeah, it's gone back and forth with Gurley because they come out and Cutter says they're going to try and get him between 15 to 25 touches every week, and he's kind of been on that low end. He's been getting 15, 16 touches, not any work in the passing game, which is really concerning. Now, if Julio misses, can they incorporate him a little bit more? I do think he's probably a little bit safer than Mark Ingram. That's going to be a game where it can go any which way. Are the Chiefs going to be leading? Are the Ravens going to be leading? It's going to go back and forth. It leaves a lot of opportunity, I think, for Mark Ingram to get some work. But I'll probably stick with Gurley, but I don't love it. They're going against Chicago's defense. It's not great, but I do have Gurley a couple spots ahead of Ingram.
Kev, how are you feeling about Mark Ingram obviously going up against your Kansas City Chiefs or Todd Gurley in this situation?
I just can't mess with Todd Gurley. I actually have him. He is a borderline RB2, low end RB2 for me. He's just not getting the volume. And I don't know if that really changes. I don't think that changes today. So I would go with Mark Ingram.
I wonder if his volume is any different from Mark Ingram, though, because I think in that offense, he's obviously splitting with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. So the volume concern is almost a tie at that point, just because they have other guys involved in that Ravens offense as well. So I think that's where I kind of keep Todd Gurley ahead. I think if you're talking about who's probably going to be on the field when they're looking to get a touchdown, it's probably going to be Todd Gurley. And for the other situation, I just don't know if it's going to be Edwards, is it going to be J.K. Dobbins, is it going to be Ingram, but they're very close.
I think I just like the matchup for Ingram a little bit better, going up against the KC run defense. That's just going to be a fun game. I hope I have nothing on the line in terms of fantasy lineups and matchups come Monday, and that way I can just sit back and just thoroughly enjoy that matchup and not have to worry about who's getting points and who's not getting points. Philip back with his weekly question of not knowing who to start between Noah Fant or Jonnu. We already touched on Jonnu. Robby, how are you feeling with, I guess, this entire offense for Denver? Obviously, no Drew Lock. Driscoll coming in. We've seen him be fantasy relevant, last year, maybe even going back 2 years ago. And then with this matchup and with Fant, how are you feeling about this entire offense as a whole? And then the question here, Fant or Jonnu, who are you going with?
With Fant really being like the one constant out there, I guess, for Driscoll, Jerry Judy's banged up, obviously, with his hip. Sutton's out. You'd like to say that Fant should be just in line for a good workload, but I don't know if that Broncos offense is going to attack the Bucs in that way. Again, we talked about why I love Jonnu. I think he's got a really smash matchup with a high over-under. If you're talking about someone who's going to score on the Titans, I think it's going to be Jonnu Smith. So, again, I think Fant isn't a bad play either. We've talked about 3 tight ends that I have in my top 10, but I got to stick with Jonnu there.
I'm going to rock with Jonnu there as well. The linebackers that the Vikings fail to have to be able to stick with a tight end like that, the Buccaneers do have between Levante David and Devin White. So I'm going to roll Jonnu there. Peter has another question for us. Play it safe with Russell Gage or just throw Kenny Galladay in coming in off of that hamstring injury, which he was sidelined for the first 2 weeks? I'm going to go Galladay there. I think they've kept him out the first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? As a precaution, they didn't throw him back in, so I can't imagine they'd be throwing him in this matchup where he's not fully healthy. So I think I'm going to roll Galladay in that situation. Kev, who do you like between Russell Gage or KG?
I don't know if I can trust Kenny Galladay, especially in this matchup. He's probably going to see exclusively Patrick Peterson. I like Kenny Galladay, but I'd probably go Russell Gage, especially because I'm not sure if I don't think they've announced anything on Julio yet. But even if Julio plays, I think it's going to be more of a decoy situation. I do not think that Julio is going to be a big part of the game plan and see a ton of targets. So with that, Russell Gage is just a smash play, and if Julio does not play, then you could move Russell Gage up to a top 15 wide receiver this week. He's been consistent through the first 2 weeks, and without Julio on the field, to me, not having Julio out there doesn't change any outlook for Calvin Ridley, which I know a lot of people will try to say that as if Julio Jones is out, but Calvin Ridley's averaging 12 targets a game anyway, so it's not going to go up dramatically much more than that. So this would be a bigger bump for Russell Gage than it would be for Calvin Ridley. So, and like I said, you can tack this defense through the secondary much more than you would want to try to run the ball. So that's why I like Russell Gage.
Robby, break the tie. Who you rolling with here?
Man, you guys know I love me some Russell Gage. I absolutely do. So it actually makes it pretty close for me, but I'm going to stick with Kenny Galladay. That Chicago secondary that Kev's talking about, I think they did a really good job against the Giants, kind of shutting down Slayton. I didn't think they'd have a great matchup there. So that's Chicago secondary with Eddie Jackson at safety and then Kyle Fuller at corner. Jalen Johnson, I think, is the other corner. They actually are a pretty good unit. So Atlanta's obviously a high-powered offense. I'm not saying that they're going to shut him out, but, man, it's hard to sit Kenny Galladay. They've held him out for 2 weeks. That over-under is obviously one of the highest of the weeks in that Detroit Arizona matchup. So I will go Kenny Galladay.
Green light, McKinnon or Diggs?
100% Diggs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Jerick McKinnon is a trap.
Yeah, I love that call. Jeffrey Wilson has been getting no talk, and I think Shanahan splits his backs. Jeffrey Wilson has getting no talk this week.
Yeah, that's also Diggs for me. C. Chav, Corey Davis, or another Russell Gage question. Who are we rolling with here?
Russell Gage.
That one I'll go with Gage as well.
Scramble 57, Montgomery or Singletary?
This one's actually tough for me because I like both of them quite a bit this week. Montgomery. So the Atlanta defense is once again terrible against the run. They've been allowing a lot of passes to the running back as well. We saw David Montgomery getting a little bit more involved in the passing game. Now with Devin Singletary, we know no Zach Moss, so he is going to be the lead back here. And so I think this is a tough one. I would lean towards Singletary, but it's a really tough one. I would like to play both of them, but yeah, I'd probably go Singletary.
Yeah, Montgomery snuck up all the way to be a mid RB2 for me. Singletary, I don't love the matchup, even though he's the only guy in town right now. I don't love that matchup against the Rams. Their front seven. So, oh man, Atlanta it kind of is a C for points, man. I gotta go Demont. Give me some Demont.
There it is, Montgomery for me as well. Because with Singletary, their goal line back is Joshua Allen. So yeah. that's just the thing that worries me there. But it's going to be interesting to see if this, because Zach Moss has not been with all the chatter he got during the training camp and all the updates we were doing with him and how good he was looking, and Singletary was not looking good. That hasn't really played out in the season so far, so it'll be interesting to see if Singletary can kind of take a little. I think
so. For me, I think the reason Singletary is more interesting is because the fact that I think he's going to see a lot more targets. I think you with with Montgomery, you're probably looking at 4 targets or something like that, where Singletary could get 10 targets. Especially with all the focus being on Diggs with Jalen Ramsey, Cole Beasley is certainly going to be involved in that off at John Brown as well. But I think you see a lot of dump offs to Devin Singletary, getting him, and to be honest, like this Bills team has been airing it out. Like they have not been.
It's 2020.
This run first offense that that we all expected it to be. So I think there could be a lot of targets here for Devin Singletary, and I think that for me is why I like him a little bit more.
Yeah, if we can touch on that for just a second, because I have the big question for myself is this Bills team the team we've seen the first 2 weeks, or have they just had smash matchups where they've been facing a Dolphins secondary without Byron Jones for 3/4 of the game, and then a Jets defense that is just 32nd? They're horrendous. So I'm curious if they kind of get to a halt in that passing game against finally a good matchup in the Rams, or if they're just as good as this team.
I will say this. I will say this about the Jets defense. So my initial thought, with whenever I was doing my rankings and when I was, with DFS, was like, okay, Jonathan Taylor is an absolute monster smash play this week. You just lock him in, DFS everywhere, right? But the more I've dug in, the Jets have actually been just as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers have against the run this year. They are neck and neck with the Steelers in terms of what they've been able to do against the run. So they are second in adjusted line yards for their defensive line. They are first in stuff rank and eighth in second level rank. They've allowed 2.16 adjusted line yards. The Pittsburgh's allowed 1.93. The only thing they've really done is last week they did allow 2 big runs. So their second level rank, which tells me that their linebackers and their secondary, has trouble tackling and stuff like that, right? But their front, it has been just as good as Pittsburgh's has. So it just caught me off guard, is all I'll say. So if I was a Jonathan Taylor owner this week, heading into the week, I would have been like, man, fantastic play. He's going to smash. I'm going to get 30 points from him. Now I'm not so confident because Jonathan Taylor as well. This is crazy because James Robinson has been the best rookie running back we've seen this year. And that is ridiculous. So he just saw the 30-point production game that he just had, right? But among all the rookie running backs, he's been a beast compared to all the other ones, right? Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire had the big first game, and he was all right the second game. I don't know. I'm not really expecting a big game for him this week. I actually think the Chiefs lose against Baltimore this week in Baltimore. But I don't know. Among all the rookie running backs, I don't feel as confident as Jonathan Taylor this week as I did entering the week.
Just real quick to touch on the Bills offense. I think it's been a combination of both, Robby. I think it's been a fact of they've played just basically no secondaries. It's been a free for all for Josh Allen. But even whenever they were up against the Jets, they just kept throwing the ball. So that's the thing that kind of has me thinking maybe it's a combination of both. The fact that they have those smash matchups, but also that they want to get Josh Allen more involved in the passing game and have him throw it more than run it and just handing the game script off to the running back. So moving on, Zach Jones wants to know, we have another Galladay question. Fire up Gallup against the Seahawks D, or are you putting Galladay coming back off that injury? Robby, who you rolling with here as the Cowboys homer? What's the insight on this?
Yeah, I think Gallup will have a bounce back game, but I'm still probably not going to start him over Galladay, where I think it's him and Marvin Jones battling for targets. I mean, there's obviously 3 guys, and then 4 if you want to toss in Dalton Schultz getting some work there in Dallas. So Gallup, I think he's not. Don't panic if he's been quiet. When you were expecting maybe top 20 weeks. CeeDee Lamb is obviously ascending and has played really well, but Gallup will have better weeks ahead, and I don't think he'll have a bad week against the Seahawks. But I'm going to go with Galladay. I have him as a back end wide receiver 1, so I got to start Galladay.
Kev, are you shying away from Galladay again in this question, or are you going with him versus Gallup?
This is a tough one for me because Michael Gallup probably gets the worst matchup of 3 Dallas wide receivers. He's got to probably play exclusively against Quentin Dunbar. He does move around a little bit. He plays 56% of time on the left, 42%, where they kind of swap him and Amari. But the Seattle secondary does not move. Quentin Dunbar plays on the left side 94% of the time. So I don't know. I would probably go Galladay.
I want the Gallup smash week. I know it's coming. It's a matter of time. Dude, it's man, that's close either way.
Again, I don't think it's a bad play either way. I think you have a high over under in that Cardinals Lions matchup, so I think Galladay should see a lot of action from Stafford, and then I like Gallup for a bounce back week as well. So I'll go Galladay, but I don't hate if you go Gallup either.
We have another Gallup question from Phantom Gaming: Gallup, Anderson, or Woods?
If we're just picking one there, oh man, that is tough. As the Bobby Trees stand here, man, he's got a tougher matchup. How much will Tre'Davious White, match up with him versus Cup? It's tougher to call there, but man, even with bad matchups, I think I still like Woods over both these other guys. Robby Anderson's obviously been balling out, but he's far and away below these other two for me. I'll go Woods by a hair over Gallup.
I'd go Gallup.
I'd go Gallup. I was about to say, because I think Tre'Davious White shadows Robert Woods, which is about one of the worst matchups you could possibly face with Tre'Davious White. So that's why, for me, that's why I would go Gallup.
Yeah, I'm going Gallup there as well, obviously. And with Robby Anderson, that's not a great matchup for him either with the Chargers. Our guy Philip jumping in again. If Julio's out, I mean, I wouldn't be playing Julio this week, even if he is active. So he wants to know Lazard, Slayton, Cooks, or Gibson. Out of those, man, I think I would go Lazard in that situation. Who are you guys rolling with out of these?
I know who Kev's going, and I'm going to probably agree with him. I will go Slayton with a bounce back game. You talked about it earlier. There's no Shepard. Barkley's out. So I think if they're going to move the ball through the air against the 49ers, it's going to go through Slayton. I do like Tate as if you needed to play somebody as well. But yeah, Slayton's going to be kind of the fire up first option, I think, for me in Daniel Jones.
It was such a layup. It was right there for you, Cody. It was a layup. It was easy. It's Darius Slayton, and it's not even close. I absolutely love Darius Slayton this week, especially with no Shepard, especially without Barkley. I actually really like Daniel Jones as well. I like this passing offense this week. A lot of people are going to see San Francisco and be, oh man, I don't want to play them against San Francisco. But San Francisco has been absolutely ravaged by injuries. This defensive front is nothing I'm afraid of. They don't have Richard Sherman. We know that a great pass rush can mask a bad secondary, and I don't think this secondary is very good. I think this team is not going to be able to run the ball against the 49ers because I just don't have a lot of faith in Dion Lewis. I don't think Devonta Freeman is very involved. I think he probably sees 5 to 8 touches today. It's his first game coming in off the street. So for me, I really like this. Whether it's Darius Slayton, love the Golden Tate call in PPR formats, and I think Evan Ingram's in play.
Yeah, Cody, just on top of that, and I think we're going to get to it in this next question with Cam against or Aaron Rodgers. The Packers matchup with the Saints, I know that we just saw the Raiders kind of do a number on them, which is still perplexing. They decided not to guard Darren Waller, even though you knew it was going to Darren Waller every single play. I do think they have a bounce back, and I don't think the Packers will move the ball like we've seen these first 2 weeks. They smash matchup against the Vikings secondary, who's been ravished. Detroit Lions were missing Trufant. They had a rookie in Akuta starting, so they obviously trounced them as well. So Aaron Rodgers has looked like old Aaron Rodgers, but in this tougher matchup without Devontae Adams, most likely Adams he's doubtful, most likely will miss the game. I'm just not in love with Lazard, even though he'll get a little bit more work, and I'm not in love with Aaron Rodgers. I'll just answer this question before you ask it. I'll go Cam Newton.
Cam, for you, okay.
I think Cam Newton's like a top 5. He's a top 5 play this week. And without Devontae Adams, we've seen it last year when Devontae Adams was out. Everything just looks completely different. I do think Aaron Jones is, again, in a terrific spot again in this matchup. I think he's going to see even more targets. And, I'm not I know it's only 2 weeks, but Aaron Jones looks like he's got to be the runaway RB1 and could be this year's Christian McCaffrey.
Trey jumping in wants to know Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, or Jarvis Landry, and then we'll get to the second part of his question after we answer this. For me, I'm gonna roll Jarvis there. He's had the extra time to heal up. I like that matchup against Washington for Jarvis there, especially in full PPR.
Yeah, full PPR makes it interesting. I do think Melvin Gordon gets enough passing down work, especially if we're talking about Sutton being out, Judy banged up. And I think this is just a feeling, but I think Detroit or Denver is going to try and get the offense moving by running it through Melvin Gordon. We're probably going to hear Philip Lindsay is out. He's been doubtful this entire week. So I think it's going to be Melvin Gordon just getting.
Julio Jones is out.
Yep.
It just came across.
And so I think that Melvin Gordon's just going to get a ton of work here, and that's why I trust him a little bit more over Jarvis Landry, who we'll see 10 targets max. I'll take Melvin Gordon, who's going to get 20+ touches.
Kev, who are you rolling with here out of Gordon, Fournette, or Jarvis?
It's not even. It's Leonard Fournette. This is super easy. He's taking over this backfield. Not a scary matchup for him. There's no way in hell I'm playing Melvin Gordon. And I do think Jarvis Landry would be the other one that I would go back and forth on, with him getting a little bit more healthy. I think Jarvis Landry's in play, but it would be Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette is the RB1 in that backfield now. Ronald Jones is officially dead.
Why wouldn't you play Melvin Gordon?
Why wouldn't I play Melvin Gordon? Because
right.
I think that you or the Bucs have no reason whatsoever to fear this secondary. You load the box. And so his best bet is going to be finding the end zone, would be through the air, which I wouldn't feel fantastic about. So I would not play Melvin Gordon.
Would you say load the box like the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of did once they went out, and Melvin Gordon still was able to find some running room? Like Melvin Gordon proved that when Lindsay's out, he just gets the work, and it doesn't matter if it's on the ground or receiving. He's going to get the work. And now, sure, I'll agree with you that Leonard Fournette is going to be that 1A probably in that backfield. But we know
no, he's not the 1A. He's the 1.
No, they'll give touches to Rojo, and he's probably going to give snaps and some targets.
Let's be honest. He's the 1. He's the 1. All right. There's no 1A, 1B here.
We'll take a look at the snap share. I definitely think it's a little bit more split than you think.
I think it continues to get worse.
Sure, I can agree with that.
So since we did not help Trey out at all there with his 3 options and three different answers, if you're rocking with us in the YouTube chat, break the tie for us. Give Trey a little bit of help here. He also wanted to know, should he drop James White for a defense or leave in Baltimore and pray for the best?
Yikes. I do not want to play Baltimore's defense if I can avoid it.
I think you roll. You roll Baltimore here. It's like I mentioned. I think Baltimore wins this game. This is a game that Baltimore is like, it needs like a statement game. They've lost the last couple of years to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. It's in Baltimore. The Chiefs' offense continually through 2 weeks has not looked very good. It certainly hasn't looked like the Chiefs' offense that we've come to expect. Now, could that change this week? Certainly. See, she doesn't like it. She doesn't agree, apparently. But I'm just saying, I think Baltimore wins this game, and I would not want to drop Baltimore's defense, which would be a defense that I would want to use all the rest of the year, because I think they would be picked up quickly. So I would not want to lose Baltimore's. I would ride with it. If they only get you 2 or 3 points, so be it. I can't imagine there's a ton out there on waivers that you're going to be able to add that's going to be able to provide you better than them.
We're being super helpful to everybody. Seeing if we disagree on just about everyone. Per usual, though, James White, his upside is going to be a couple weeks, so he'll give you some PPR floor, but he's never going to be anything more than a flex. I think he's totally droppable. Damian Harris is going to come back, so I would drop him, pick up a better matchup. If the Bucs defense is out there, what are their defenses? Titans, Minnesota's offenses looked horrible if the Titans defense is out there. Eagles against Cincy. Yeah, those are some other defenses I would pick up and drop James White.
Emery has a question here. A-Rob, Diggs, or OBJ needs a safe flex play, half PPR. For me, it's A-Rob smash week.
Let's go.
It's
wide receiver one.
Well, I agree, but who does this guy have? Like, how is that a flex? Like, who are your other wide receivers? That is like that again. That's once again very impressive.
Find a way to start a couple more of these guys.
It's 100% A-Rob.
Yep.
I am here for it. I am here for the A-Rob smash week. Coop Dog wants to know, should I start Jerick McKinnon or Adam Thielen at flex this week?
Man, are we going to be?
Can we go McKinnon here?
Who? It's 100% Adam Thielen.
Right. We're gonna end up being super wrong on Jerick McKinnon, and people are just gonna flame us for it. But this is not close. It's Thielen.
See, I don't think that McKinnon's necessarily the trap that you guys talked about. I do think this is a good matchup for him. He's obviously going to get his fair share of touches. I don't think it's necessarily a trap, but I do think that Thielen is the play here. And now, hey, she's already having her first podcast appearance. Everybody, TFA fam, welcome in Aria, the new addition, the true addition to the TFA fam.
Viewership has just shot up.
Look at this. Roof. Look at this. What
this is 100% dedication here. You know, feeding the baby, answering fantasy football questions. You know, that's how much the TFA fan means to me.
Just taking care of business, TCB. And Robby, if you want to attack Kevin, I think now is the time. I think his powers are diminished. His kryptonite is in his arms. He can't get too wild on you here.
Dude, you guys would know better than I that this dad mode that you get in, where you can catch a baby falling off a couch while you're feeding the other one. You can find the remote somehow. I don't know. I feel like he's getting supercharged right now. I should stay away.
New Life is rocking with us in here from Mexico. Welcome in. Appreciate you joining us. We are now an international game day show. New Life needs 3 half PPR. Connor, DJ, Hunt, Dobbins, Jacobs, Henderson. I think you're locking in Jacobs. He seems good to go. Give me one each from you other two. Robby, who's going to be or Kev, go ahead. Who's going to be your second pick here? I'm locking in Jacobs. Obviously, I'm going to take the low hanging fruit.
James Conner. I have a ridiculous amount of James Conner today in DFS. So this is a amazing spot for James Conner. So that's an easy call.
Making it a little difficult on me then, rounding out, because I was going to say James Conner for sure. Kev has him as a top 10 running back. I think that's great. I'm not quite there, but I do think James Conner will have a really good matchup this week. I'll probably go David Johnson just to round that out. He's going to get the full workload there. Hunt's obviously splitting with Chubb. Dobbins is kind of same with Ingram. I don't know who's going to get that touchdown or two. And then Darrell Henderson.
Are you not worried about that Pittsburgh front that has just destroyed worlds?
You know, I would be, except this guy that you hate in Melvin Gordon seemed to destroy their world last game.
I mean, I wouldn't say they destroyed. He luck boxed him way into a receiving touchdown, and that was about it. Like it wasn't a great performance. They're still number one across the board at all metrics against the run. So, I mean.
Yeah, we saw Barkley be able to get receiving work, and so he was fine as a play there, even though he didn't do anything on the ground. David Johnson obviously can do the same. I'm not as worried as we should be with most weeks. If someone's splitting snaps, splitting touches, they're not getting the full workload. Yes, I see that, but I can't put any of these other guys above that. Hunt going against the Washington.
I think
you want to talk about a good front seven. The Washington football team, I think, is actually has a much better front seven than we're giving them credit for. So Hunt's out for me. I can't go Henderson or Dobbins. So yeah, I think it's.
Why can't you go Henderson? That would be the guy that I would go with. Would be Henderson.
Every week you're trying to smash a Browns running back, and it has not worked out any week, Kev. You got to pump the brakes, man. You're switching too much. No,
there's only 2 options here, right?
And we've eliminated one from the equation. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, I still don't love it. The Bills. Here's what we need to watch. These inactive reports are coming through. If all three of those Bills linebackers are out again, I think I agree with you that Henderson becomes a lot more intriguing, especially if we're looking at Tremaine Edmonds. I think he's kind of the star of that trio, but they already have one that's marked out, and we got to keep an eye on here for inactive. So we'll get with you on those inactives as they come in.
I'd be surprised if Edmonds played. He was, I think he was limited all week, but he was in a non-contact. He was either limited or completely out all week, but either way, he was in a non-contact. Matt Milano got in a full practice on Friday, so he seems most likely to go. But then the Rams also lost Joe Noteboom again, so he's, I believe he is out for the year, or at least out for a couple of weeks. So. Hope that helped, New Life. Thank you for joining us from Mexico. We appreciate that. Graham wants to know OBJ or Edelman.
Real quick, I just got the Bills inactives, and they do have Edmonds as active, along with Matt Milano. AJ Klein, I think, is a name there. I couldn't tell you how they obviously didn't do well last week, but I'm not as inclined to play Henderson against that Bills team.
That's surprising with Edmonds. I was not expecting him. What about this question, Robby? Here, who are you going with between OBJ or Edelman?
Yeah, the way to attack Washington's team is to pass. Obviously, the Browns have wanted to run early and often, but I think OBJ will be the play here, even after Edelman's great game. He looks so banged up. He looked all of 34 years old in his game of the year with Cam. I'm going to go with OBJ. I think Edelman will be a little bit quieter this week.
That was a career game for Edelman.
Yep.
What?
There it is. Who are you going with, Kev, here between Odell or Edelman?
I'm going with OBJ.
That settles that. We're going to move on to Earthly Links. What's up, fellas? Loving the content. We appreciate it, man. Thank you for that. Alan Lazard or AJ Green in PPR. Neither of these guys would really seem to have AJ Green. I mentioned it on the start sit show that we did earlier this week. I think he's tied for 5th in the NFL with 22 targets, and he is the only one with 20 plus targets who has less than 100 yards and also single digit catches.
He's also number 1 in air yards.
He's what across the NFL? AJ Green?
Yep.
What? Get out of town. That's. I'm so taken aback.
He has nothing to say.
I'm at a loss for words. Who are you guys going with here between AJ Green? Like I said, has that matchup. Probably going to see a lot of Darius Slay. Alan Lazard, probably going to see a lot of Marshawn Lattimore, I would think. Who are you guys rolling with between these two?
Oh, gosh. 2 I'd try to avoid. I do like Boyd a lot better than Green, but I'll go Green in this matchup. I just think he's going to have a bigger target share.
I'm going to go Lazard. No. I was just going to try to keep it.
You were trying.
I'm going to go AJ Green. All the requisite numbers are there for AJ Green to really take off.
Right.
Is this the matchup to do it? I don't know. This is not the greatest of matchups, but he's certainly going to see the targets. I think this is the week that I think the Philly offense really gets going, and so if that happens, then they're going to have to throw the ball a lot more, and Joe Mixon's dead, at least for the next 6 or 7 weeks, and then Joe Mixon will take off again in the second half of the season like he does every year.
Gibson or Montgomery? I'll jump in first. I'm going to take Montgomery here. The numbers are improving for Gibson. He looks like he's ticking up in terms of his involvement, his role in that offense, but I think Montgomery is a safer play. The matchup doesn't scare me like we talked about earlier. I think we're still maybe another week or 2 out from Gibson kind of being a locked-in flex play on most weeks, but right now with how Montgomery looked last week, I'm going to roll with him here in this matchup. Any disagreements? Is anybody going with Gibson? Nope. Also wants to know, Robby, going to throw this one to you since you've become our defensive specialist somehow, some way. Philip wants to know, Browns or the Chargers D?
Browns still have Greedy Williams out. They actually also have Olivier Vernon out, so I think your sack total might not be as high as you'd like there. I like the Chargers defense against Carolina. Carolina was an absolute turnover machine with Teddy Bridgewater. I think he had 2 picks and a fumble, if I remember correctly. The Chargers defense, even without Derwin James, as Kev said earlier, they are a very good defense. They held the Chiefs somewhat in check, as best as you can hold the Chiefs in check. So I have them as my actual DST number 2, and we have them top 4 in our consensus on TFA.
Is Denzel Ward out this week too? Because I know he got hurt in practice. I think it was a groin injury.
Unsure.
He's questionable. I haven't seen anything on whether or not he was testing it pre-game. I saw Mary Kay Cabot put out a picture of a bunch of the trainers and team around him, kind of seeing if he could go, but I have not seen anything for sure yet on that front.
He's not on the inactive, so that's all I got for you.
Another Jonnu Smith question. Coop Dog wants to know, Jared Cook or Jonnu this week in a PPR league?
Gosh, a lot of tight ends apparently have smash matchups because I like both of these guys as well. I must just like Jonnu a lot more than everybody else. They're separated by 2 spots, so I can go either way. Who's going to get the touchdown is probably what you're coming down to. I'll stick with Jonnu.
I'd go Jonnu.
Pick 2, full PPR. Will Fuller, John Brown, Manny Sanders, or Russell Gage?
Toss up. We got Tom rocking with us in the chat, Dynasty Infidel. He says it's Gage season, and I agree. Gage is the number 1 guy I'm throwing in here. And then I'll probably go Will Fuller just for that potential. We know when he's healthy, he's always a threat to have a good game. So I'm not quite believing in this Bills offense against a good, worthy opponent. So I'm a little bit lower on John Brown and Stephon Diggs than probably consensus is. And Emmanuel Sanders is completely out.
I'm going to roll Will Fuller and Russell Gage there as well. Kev, are you throwing a third name into the mix, or is that who you're rolling with as well?
No, it's Will Fuller. And then, like I said, Russell Gage. Now with the Julio Jones news, now that Julio Jones has officially been ruled out, I just moved Russell Gage up to wide receiver 14. So
where do you have Ridley then?
I did move it. He just jumped up to number 3. I had him at 5, I think, before. So
got you. So you're not worried. You haven't been worried about this Chicago secondary at all. I think I give them a little bit more credit than you. I have them a little bit lower. They'll probably be wide receiver 10 and wide receiver maybe in the teens somewhere once we get off here. But both are obviously starts.
RD wants to know, start Boyd or wait for Devontae's status and start him or Traequan if Devontae can't go.
Devontae's listed as doubtful, isn't he? Anyway.
Yeah, I think we should assume he's going to be out.
Yeah.
But then we're looking at Boyd versus Traequan, which I don't think is a terrible, one for one there. But I'll go Boyd. I think he's going to get. Yeah, Kutz has been hyping him for a while. I think we've seen him get some good work with Burrow.
Kev, you rocking with Boyd there as well? That is a clean sweep for us. Caps fan, pick 2, half PPR. Fournette, Rojo, Corey Davis, N'Keal Harry.
You want me to answer for Kev?
Rojo?
Smash Fournette. Start him in both your spots. Just make sure you sit Rojo. I will probably go the same as what Kev would go. I'll go Fournette and Corey Davis. What does Arya think on that one? Fournette.
See,
Fournette.
Every time you bring her over and Rojo comes up, she just gets super, super upset.
She's your kid for
brand.
sure.
For the brand. She's smart, just like her dad.
Kev, Kev, are you going Fournette and Corey Davis if the other two options are Rojo and N'Keal Harry?
Yes.
Yep.
Mason jumping back in wants to know John Brown or Russell Gage. I'm gonna go Gage there as well for this one. It kind of just seems like we are firing up Gage across all of these questions. Full PPR, JK47 jumping in with us again. Mike Davis or Fuller. Oh God, I mean it's Fuller for me. Yep, looks like that is also a clean sweep for that one. Patel wants to know Marvin Jones, Galladay, Robby, Anderson. Pick one, full PPR.
Galladay for me.
Galladay there as well. We are rolling through these, trying to catch up. We're behind on some of these. Chris B wants to know full PPR. Pick two, CD, Hollywood, McKinnon.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Hollywood Brown a lot, and I really like him in this matchup. Kev's talked about the cornerbacks for the Chiefs. I think Hollywood is going to be very much in play for me. And then I like CeeDee Lamb. We're probably going to get burned on this McKinnon stuff, but I'm not down with McKinnon this week.
No, out of those two, I don't think there's any need to go to McKinnon. Like I said, I don't think that he is the trap. I don't feel that strongly, like Kev said, but between those two, I'm definitely going CD and Hollywood. Patel coming back again. We kind of figured this would be a popular question, especially with both being available on waivers. Devontae Adams' status probably leaning toward out. He is doubtful right now. Wouldn't fire him up anyway, even if he is active, just like the way that Julio was. Wants to know MBS or Lazard.
Got to take the big play potential, and MVS has actually had a better target share with Rodgers. So I think if we're talking about that potential boom play, it's going to be MVS. And
MVS, even on the surface, without he's been a borderline wide receiver 2 through the first 2 weeks. He's 12th in air yards, 4th in deep targets, 5th in red zone targets. So I mean, there's a lot to like with MVS, even pre Devontae Adams being out. I think now with him being out, I think that just goes higher. I think you could probably see 25 to 30% target share here.
Charvarius Ward is going to be inactive for the Chiefs, and then Traequan Smith inactive for the Cowboys. Two people to just note. I think we're talking about Hollywood Brown. That's just another feather in his cap for why I have him as a top 20 play this week at wide receiver.
Yeah, I think I have MVS. I have Marquise Brown at wide receiver 13, I think.
Very good. Yep, I'm all in on that as well.
Mason jumping back in, Slayton or John Brown.
Slayton.
I'll make the boss happy. This is Slayton here. Ben wants to know Fuller or Landry in a standard. I'm going to go Landry there.
I mean, if we're talking PPR, I think it's Landry. A little bit of thunderstorm here. Sorry. I'll go Fuller, though, in a standard. If we're talking about a big play potential, I'm going to go Fuller.
Kev, break the tie here. Just blink once for Fuller or blink twice for Landry.
Fuller.
that is a deep voice for a baby there. Julio Jones is out, Bruno. So
how far up behind that though?
What?
Come again?
Julio Jones is out, right? That's
100%. He's out. That's why I said, are these old questions back from whenever before that we got the news?
It looks like these were like 10 minutes after that. Since Julio is out, who does Bruno start then? Traequan, Marvin Jones, or Anthony Miller?
This is where I'll agree with Kev, where I think Marvin Jones is in play. I don't like him as much as Galladay, but that's a high over/under. I will go with the Lions. Just spreading the wealth between Galladay and Marvin Jones. There we go. Two kiddos here. All the love.
I'm going to go for the matchup. I'm going Anthony Miller.
He goose egged me, man. It's tough to go back to that well right away.
This is the difference between the ages with the children. One can't move and needs burped, and the other one only wants to move and is now grabbing everything. So I just to bring in the demo, those viewers are going up. Those viewers are peaking there. Kev, who are you going with here in this matchup? Are you going Marvin Jones? Or are you going Anthony Miller? Or are you going Traequan? That's been your guy.
I think they're all pretty close. Like Traequan was pretty solid last week. What was he, 5 for 80 or something like that in that matchup against the Raiders? I think they're all pretty close. I would probably rank them Marvin Jones, then Traequan, then Anthony Miller. And this is Big Ben for me.
Yep, Kev has Big Ben as a top 10 quarterback. I'm a little down on Brady. I'll go Big Ben there.
Trey jumping back in, full PPR, wants to know Todd Gurley, Devin Singletary, or Deontay Johnson. I can definitely answer for Kev here, and that is Deontay Johnson. It seemed absurd when he said it this offseason of Deontay Johnson potentially becoming the Steelers wide receiver 1, and it kind of seems like that the numbers anyway are trending that way. Kev, don't worry, I already answered for you.
Oh, damn it. I missed out on my opportunity to say I'm going to go with the Steelers' number 1 wide receiver.
Yep, that's kind of where I figured you were going there, and I answered as such. Robby, who you rocking with here between the two running backs or Deontay?
Yeah, I'm going to go Deontay as well. As much as we liked Singletary, I just think it's a tough matchup. He should get all the work, but don't love it.
Bruno jumping in again, Mike Davis or Gibson. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, Robby.
Yeah, because if you want to just talk about what you think is a good 1-for-1, as best you can, if you're just fitting in somebody after they go out for the season or a couple weeks, as we have with McCaffrey, it looks like Mike Davis is just going to be kind of that guy that gets a lot of the work. But this Chargers defense is not to be trifled with, I'm telling you. So I will go Gibson against that Browns defense. Mike Davis in future weeks, yes, but not this week against the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well. I would roll Gibson in that case, especially if they can get him involved in the passing game. The Browns linebackers are just straight up doo-doo butter. Wheezy wants to know Jonnu Smith or Hayden Hurst for the tight end pick there.
I'll stick to my brand here on this show. I will stick with Jonnu. I have him as a top 4 play. I can't go away from him.
Kev, who are you rolling with between Jonnu or Hayden Hurst?
Jonnu.
I agree there as well. Another clean sweep. Michael Diaz wants to know Galladay, OBJ, or Gage. A lot of Gage questions, a lot of Galladay questions today, as we kind of assumed would be the case. Who you guys rolling with there? If assuming he just needs one of these of the 3 in PPR.
Man, these are tough, man. These are tough. We already had a Galladay Gage question. I went Galladay, even with Julio out. I'll stick with Galladay. Man, these are all good. I'd start any one of them. I'll go Galladay, though.
Kev, what are your thoughts here between these 3? Galladay, Odell, or Gage?
That one's really close. I'd probably go OBJ.
I like Odell here as well. Jimmy, we'll get to yours here. I'm going to throw that up so the guys have a chance to look at it. Controversial wants to know Dalton Schultz or Ertz full PPR.
Gosh, who thought we would be asking this question week 3 of the 2020 season? Man, I think you're chasing points if you're going Dalton Schultz. He can still get some targets, but I'm not going to overreact to Ertz. I still have him as a top 3 play. he will be okay. Just give him time. I'm going to go Ertz there.
I'm going to go Ertz as well. Here was Jimmy's question. Was it a bad idea to trade Ridley for Miles Sanders? Jimmy has Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. Running backs were Zeke and DJ.
It's hard to go away from Calvin Ridley right now, and he doesn't need Sanders, I don't think. If you're talking about just a weekly play, it's pretty much a wash for Sanders one week and Ridley the next, because Ridley's just been balling. So normally I lean the running back, but I might just ride Ridley for right now.
Kind of seems like Jimmy already made this trade. So already traded Ridley for Miles Sanders.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think it's pretty even. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Would you rather be stronger at running back than wide receiver, which I think is actually normally the case. You'd rather have that running back depth more. You can find wide receivers off the waiver wire. So, I don't. It's not a bad idea at all. I could go either way with this.
Kev, who would you rather have there in that scenario? Do you think Jimmy made a mistake trading away Ridley?
Yeah, I would rather have had Miles Sanders. I just think trying to find elite running backs is really tough, and they're not easily replaceable. Wide receivers a little bit easier to replace. I know that Calvin Ridley has destroyed the last couple of weeks, but that's not something I would count on every single week. I would prefer to have the running back. I think the running back offers more value. So.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really think you can go wrong with either of those guys. And like Kev said, it's a lot easier to replace the wide receiver production than it is the top tier running back production. Chav jumping back in. This question hurts my heart. Mixon or Taylor PPR? That's nice to be able to look at that and have that as an option to trying to decide who you're starting there. But I want this to be Mixon. I really do. Like I want it, but full disclosure, I have to go JT here.
Yeah, if the Eagles do anything well, they stop the run now that they're healthy with their defensive front. So Mixon's not as high of a ceiling for me. Kev's talked about the Jets defense, and they are good against the run. However, Jonathan Taylor with that offensive line, they're going to be pounding. I think they're going to be leading. He can get 30 touches in this game. He can get receiving work. Naheem Hines disappeared off the face of the earth. So sorry to everybody who did fab dollars on him. I do think there's better days ahead where they have better game scripts where Hines gets worked in, but this is not going to be one of them. JT all day.
Chris B jumping in wants to know Dak or Cam.
Dak.
I'm gonna that's Dak for me as well. The Homer shakes his head. Yes. Pick 3 to start in the standard. Tyreek, Juju, Odell, Deontay Johnson, Darius Slayton.
Let Kev answer this. Let Kev go on this. He's gotta cut out some of his loves.
I know. This is like Bachelor Fantasy Edition for me. Like, who am I going to give roses to?
You might need Arya's help on this one.
I would go Tyreek, Deontay, and Odell.
Robby, who are you going with here? Is there anyone that you disagreed with that Kev just laid out?
He said Tyreek, Odell, and who was the last one that he said?
Deontay.
Oh, gosh, it is so tough. We're going to end up picking the wrong one. I'm going to go one more week, Juju over Deontay, but I have them super close. I think they're separated by 5 spots. Could go either which way, but I'm going to go one more week with Juju over Deontay.
Yeah, Tyreek and Odell are locked in there for me. And then out of those 3, man, I really don't think that there is a bad play to be had amongst those last 3. Emery kind of has a little bit of a trade question here. That Emery had a question earlier where we were talking about his wide receivers as A-Rob, Ridley, McLaurin, Odell, Diggs, and A.J. Brown. Picked Odell up off of waivers in a 10-team league. My Lord, that is
what is happening?
Yeah, that is not fair. Emery would like to package a few of those guys. Who should Emery target? Kind kind of seems like maybe looking to get a running back here. Who should he package up and who should he target in a 2-for-1 kind of deal?
I really like selling high on Stephon Diggs. I really, really do. I'm telling you, I'm not all the way sold on the Bills passing 40 times a game. He's obviously wide receiver 4 through 2 weeks, but I think this is a perfect time to sell high on Diggs. And I'll sell, I know he just got OBJ, but I think that Browns offense wants to run the ball a lot. Jarvis Landry is going to get worked in here in some weeks. So OBJ's ceiling, I think, is kind of limited. You still have that name cachet. So if you can do a 2-to-1 package for one of those guys, I think you're looking at a top 5, top 6 running back. Maybe wait for Aaron Jones to have an off week. If he has one, you're looking at him. Maybe a Josh Jacobs. CEH might be somebody that you can grab. So I think you're going for a top tier running back if you trade those
Dalvin
two.
Cook, who hasn't been, he's been solid, but he hasn't been like, he hasn't put up any monster weeks yet. Though I think this is the week that it's going to happen.
That's a great name.
We have a non-PPR standard question here from Call Me Ren. Slayton, Gage, or Corey Davis? Again, this is non-PPR.
Russell Gage. This is. I feel like we have so much Russell Gage today that
we're gonna get burned.
He's gonna have like 3 for 40, and everyone's just gonna hate us.
I might go Slayton there, and I thought Kev might be on the Slayton train there. If we're talking non-PPR and we're just looking for a boom play, again, I'm just giving that Bears secondary a little bit of respect. I think I'll take Slayton in a much better matchup.
Zilly wants to know Diggs or Bobby Woods. I mean, Robby, I think we know. Do we know your answer? Are you gonna roll with Diggs here in the matchup play?
Yeah,
actually, neither of them have great matchups.
No, neither of them do have great matchups. I'm gonna go Robert Woods though. I don't think they strictly shadow. I know a lot of zone gets mixed in. I haven't looked specifically at the Bills defense, but the shadow I think is a little bit overrated. If there is going to be one guy though, for sure, Tre'Davious White is one guy that does it quite often. But I'm still going to go Robert Woods. He has a rushing ability as well that we overlook sometimes. Got a rushing touchdown already this week. So again, I'm going to be lower on consensus on Diggs than most people. So my answer will probably be in the minority, but I'm going to go Woods.
Remove your bias, Robby. Remove your bias. Go Diggs.
I do. I think I like Diggs there as well because all it takes is one play for him to get free from Ramsey. We know Ramsey is a very aggressive corner, so I think if Diggs can get him to bite on one of his routes, Diggs can end up being the better play this week. Tyson Tricks, who should I start in my flex? Hayden Hurst, Zach Ertz, or Joshua Kelly? Can also put one in the tight end spot.
So we're looking at a tight end and then the backup, whoever we didn't pick a tight end, or Joshua Kelly is what I'm taking as.
Kind of picking two of the three.
Yeah, I would go Ertz at tight end and then Kelly in the flex.
Agreed.
Same for me. Teddy V wants to know Henderson, Deshaun Jackson, or Malcolm Brown.
I'll go Henderson there.
I think I like Djax. With Rager out, Ward hasn't been as involved as we thought he was going to be after he kept getting called the Zach Ertz of the wide receivers, according to a couple of those beat reporters. Deshaun Jackson, after week 1, Peterson came out and just said that Deshaun Jackson's involvement is going to continue to grow as the weeks go on. We're obviously now in week 3, so I'm going to go Djax there. I like that play.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at him, he's 17th in targets. He's got 16. He's 4th in air yards, 282 air yards, 14th in air yards share of the market share among the team. He has 6 deep targets, which is second among all wide receivers. So, if this is a bounce back week for them, I think I think I would actually go Deshaun Jackson as well.
The true polar bear jumping back in the chat with us. He was here last week, I think week 1 as well. Joshua Kelly, Fournette, Mike Davis, PPR.
Fournette.
Robby, who you got?
It just seems like a smash Joshua Kelly week. They're just giving up rushing touchdowns left and right. I think he's most likely to get a rushing touchdown in that offense, and they're going to be controlling the game script in the second half. So he shot 23 carries. It's really hard to go away from that, and then you include the good matchup. So I got to go Joshua Kelly.
I'm going to go Joshua Kelly as well. Another Josh Kelly question coming here from Ben BC. DJ or Joshua Kelly in the flex?
Man, we're getting about to Josh Kelly's where he's at. He's that mid running back 2 with David Johnson. I'm just trying to pull up my rankings here. They're going to be just a couple spots apart, I'm sure. I have David Johnson higher. Man, that's maybe I need to have a Joshua Kelly higher because I'm gonna go against the rankings. I'm gonna go Joshua Kelly. I just like that matchup way too much.
Same for me as well. Bruno back in the chat. Marvin Jones or Gibson for the flex? I'm gonna go Marvin there.
Man, I need someone to pump me up on Antonio Gibson. I have to roll him out. I think you guys might have seen the chat earlier. I had Moss. Obviously, Moss is out now. Gibson. I can't even remember my third, or it was Frank Gore. And so I am going Gibson in the league. So maybe it's a little bit of bias, but I want Gibson to have a good week. Man, no, I can't be biased. We gotta give him good stuff here. I'll go Marvin Jones.
Frank Torres in the YouTube chat. AJ Green or MVS? Kev, who you rolling with there between those two receivers?
MVS.
Didn't you just tell us that AJ Green is led in air yards? Come on now. We got to go AJ Green here.
MVS for me as well. Another MVS Alan Lazard question. Polar Bear jumping back in. Corey Davis, Brandon Cooks, or the 2 Green Bay receivers? PPR, who you going with there?
Oh, man, that's tough.
MVS.
I'm not in love with the Packers wide receivers. I would pick MVS over Lazard, but I'll go Corey Davis. I want to go Corey Davis there. We have a 50 over under. They're gonna the Vikings are gonna roll out Holton Hill and Cam Dantzler and
Mike Hughes are out.
Mike Hughes are out. I mean, I got to go Corey Davis just in a really, really good matchup there with A.J. Brown out.
I think Corey Davis is a safe option. So if you need a better floor, go Corey Davis. If you need a little bit more of a home run hit, go MVS. Frank is just throwing Larry Fitzgerald into the mix. I think we're all going to go with MVS. I don't think any of our answers are going to change with Larry Fitzgerald jumping in. Jonathan Bloom wants to know Devin Singletary or Keenan Allen in a half PPR.
Yeah, I'm actually deciding on this myself. I have Juju as a third to pick. I got to pick 2 of the 3, and it's really coming down, I think, to Juju or Devin Singletary. So in my situation, but I'll lean Keenan Allen here. Curious if you guys have thoughts on that, answering his, and then if you added Juju into the mix, how you rank those 3.
Keenan Allen for me.
Are you rolling Keenan Allen over Juju to help out the question we have live here on the show?
Got to help me out as well, Kev.
I would go Keenan Allen, Juju, and then Devin Singletary.
Okay.
This one's Stafford for me, I think.
Robby, who are you rolling with here between Matt Ryan or Matt Stafford?
We didn't really see Julio do a whole lot other than drop a touchdown last week, and Matt Ryan still balled out. He does have a much tougher matchup, so it gets closer there. Gosh, these are tough this week. I'll go Matt Ryan just by a hair, though.
I will break the tie and go Matt Stafford. I'm hoping that the addition of Kenny Galladay being back in the lineup, even if he is a semi decoy or if he kind of gets shadowed and limited by Patrick Peterson. I think that's going to help out this entire offense. So I'm going to break the tie and go Matt Stafford there. Jake also wants to know Kelly or MVS if Adams is out. I'm going to stay consistent with this. I am not going to play Adams even if he does end up being active, especially in the spot that they are playing. So who are you guys going between Kelly or MVS in a full PPR?
I'm gonna reverse back to the last one. I got to go with the other Matthew as well. You guys, I've been talking about Galladay and Marvin Jones. I've been a little bit lower than Kev on Ridley and Gage, if I can be low on Gage even. So I got to go Matthew Stafford, and then I'll go Joshua Kelly. Just have me on repeat here. Play that matchup.
Kev, are you just going to give us the initials, or are you going Kelly between Kelly or MVS?
Let's talk. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if we need to talk about Josh Kelly's 23 carries, like, what's the hesitation with Kelly there in your guys' thoughts? Do you think Eckler takes over more of the workload? Was that just a fluke that he got that much work? We guys are a lot lower on Kelly than I am. Just curious.
I'm
on
not
this matchup.
low on Kelly, so like I like Joshua Kelly. I think he is a fine flex option this week, depending on who you're running out there. It's just like, so for example, like MVS has the potential to be the number one wide receiver for the Packers, right? And so there's a lot of options this week because there's so much value, right, in terms of guys that are widely available. KJ Hamler, which we haven't even talked about. Nobody's had a KJ Hamler question, which I assume we're going to have some KJ Hamler questions in the future. And everybody that doesn't have KJ Hamler, if you have an open roster spot, I would be going at him now because I think that he's in a potential blow-up game today, and I really like KJ Hamler. But between the two of Joshua Kelly and the other options there, like I can see a scenario where he doesn't find the end zone, and if he doesn't find the end zone, then his upside's not nearly as high as some of these other guys, because he's not going to see the pass catching work because that's Austin Eckler, and Austin Eckler could go nuclear today, which would limit him some. So it just depends on the options of who's there. I like Joshua Kelly quite a bit, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Ben wants to know in a standard McKinnon or Burkhead. I'm going to go McKinnon here. We've passed on him enough. I will finally say yes to McKinnon over Burkhead, even with James White out due to his very unfortunate circumstance that he's dealing with personally. Robby, are you also going to pass on McKinnon here, or are you finally going to pull the trigger on him and call on his name?
No, I can't pass on him here. I got to go with McKinnon. I'm not starting any. I'm so done with Sony. I ranted on the TFA Dino Pod. So done with Sony Michel. I got to go McKinnon there.
Gage or Boyd?
Gage.
My opinion does not matter on this question. The kid is saying Philip Lindsay is available on the waiver wire. Should I scoop him up?
Who do you drop? That makes it the question.
Yeah, that would be.
If I'm adding somebody, like, could you add Philip Lindsay? Yeah, but do I like? I think it would take an injury to Melvin Gordon for him to really realize that upside. Like, and so, like, I would rather add, like, if you want like a speculative add, like, I would rather add like JaMychal Hasty, who could end up being the lead back out of this bunch after today. I know we like he was activated, so he's going to get touches as well. And I just can never trust Kyle Shanahan, which is why I say that I think Jerick McKinnon could be a trap. Because would anybody be surprised if JaMychal Hasty actually led this backfield in touches today? I wouldn't. So, like, it's just like if I was going to add somebody, I'd rather add somebody like that for this 1 week before, like, get out ahead of waivers, because that's like you're obviously not playing him this week, but he's somebody that could end up going off, or having a big game, and then he's going to turn out to be the number one waiver ad. So I would rather add him, or like I mentioned, like a KJ Hamler, who now without Cortland Sutton for the rest of the season and Jerry Jeudy's banged up, like KJ Hamler could end up being the number one wide receiver for that team this year. So, that's why I would go with those guys.
Ethan Hawk wants to know Kyler or Russell. I mentioned this with some questions last week. Trade one of them. It would be my first piece of advice. That's just going to be such a headache for you on a week-to-week basis. And both of those guys you can just leave plugged in, obviously, outside of their bye week. So I would look to move on from one of those guys if you could. But who are you guys rolling with between Kyler or Russell this week?
It's Russell for me.
Yeah, they're facing.
They're close. I love both of them. They're both in fantastic spots. They're both in great games. But I just lean towards Russell.
It is worth noting that Chidobe Awuzie will be out for the Cowboys. Their top corner. Dallas was already been ravaged defensively, as we saw in that Falcons game. So yeah, that I think I have Dallas's defense as my 32nd ranked defense. I think Seahawks are going to score early and often.
I like Russ there as well. It's so hard to sit him with how he's been playing. Not that Kyler's been playing bad by any means, but Russ has just been on a different level. Polar Bear in the YouTube chat again. Tight end question: Evan Ingram, Hayden Hurst, or Logan Thomas? Like we talked about, if you guys missed it, Tom and I, the other half of the TFA Dino show, we did our first prop talk this week. I mentioned Logan Thomas is one of my picks, going over 37.5 receiving yards, just because of those Cleveland linebackers are putrid right now. It looks like Mac Wilson is closer to returning than initially thought, but even still, even if he is playing this week, I haven't seen the active inactives for him. But I don't think you have to reach down with him at this point. Between Evan Ingram or Hayden Hurst for me, who you guys rolling with there?
Go ahead, Kev.
It's Evan Ingram for me.
Yep.
Can we just talk though real quick about a couple tight ends that people should be having on their radar today? Like if you're hurting a tight end, and one of them I know is Robby's dude. But so I think Drew Sample is certainly somebody that you could look at as an option. Now with Uzoma out,
that's a no from area.
Jordan Akins from the Texans. I know Robby's been on that train quite a bit, but he's definitely the tight end one there for them.
Yeah, and then in this question, Logan Thomas, the two guys I hyped in Dynasty because they were the only ones relevant at the time for that format, and now both of them are very relevant in Akins and Logan Thomas for redraft even. I'm not starting him over Ingram, but those are two guys that if they're not picked up, Logan Thomas should have a smash opportunity against the Browns. Kev, I know you said it. I tweeted out, I believe on Monday, Logan Thomas is 7th in route runs, 3rd in targets. He's now facing the team that's worst against tight ends in the Cleveland Browns. So he is a start, but probably not over Evan Ingram.
As we are closing in on week 3 of the Game Day show, Mo Decker wants to know Hayden Hurst or Tyler Higbee.
I'm going to go Hayden Hurst here.
Yeah, Julio out. I mean, hard to sit Higbee after a 3-touchdown game. We've talked about the Buffalo Bills getting some of those linebackers back healthy, not quite as great of a matchup. I'll go Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, I mean, I would want this to be Higbee. I was looking at some of his numbers last night in prep for that prop talk show I just mentioned. Higbee's only ran 37 routes so far this year, which is not what I expected. And like to put that in perspective, it's either Ingram or Kelsey, I believe, who is leading the league for tight ends route run, and they are all the way up at 84. Just to give you an idea of where that sits in terms of the routes being run. So I'm also going to go with Hurst there. Vincent wants to know pick 2: Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, or Zeke.
Good night. That is very, very difficult. Man, that is a good stable. I have Zeke at number 2, Taylor at number 7, and Eckler at number 3. So, yeah, I'm actually sitting Taylor there. But, gosh. Kev, Cody, what do you guys got? He can start any of these guys. There's no wrong answer.
Zeke is locked in. Then I think I'm going to go Eckler as well. It feels super gross sitting Jonathan Taylor. Like I hate myself for it, but with those options you have, Vincent, good drafting there by you, man.
Can you start?
Can you not flex?
Yeah.
Can you not flex one of them?
Try and find a way to get Jonathan Taylor in your flex, Vincent.
Yeah, that's a good call there. Team out of nowhere, Tyler Boyd or Will Fuller. I haven't been able to say yet. I'm going Boyd.
I would go Boyd here.
Yep, that's a sweep.
So that means that Will Fuller is the actual play. No, go Boyd there. Blue Crew jumping back in. I think it was a new subscriber as of last week. PPR QB Herbert, Watson, or Breeze.
That's gonna be Watson for me. I know he was your sit, a correct pick in a sit last week, and I think you're still down on him this week if I remember correctly, Cody. But Watson's just too far separated from Breeze and Herbert at this point. I still got to go Watson.
Agree, Kev?
Yeah, I would probably agree there.
Pay attention to your child. First of all, Blue Crew, I would be dropping Herbert and picking up someone that could. I would actually probably be dropping Breeze as well, quite possibly, and I would just roll with Watson. Either that or just getting two streaming every week. I would not be carrying three quarterbacks unless you just have a super expanded bench situation, which I can't imagine is the case. But I'd be dropping at least Herbert, if not two of those guys, and picking up some much needed depth for your running back and receiver room. Ben jumping back in, Godwin or Marquise Brown, PPR.
We really like Marquise Brown this week, but PPR, I think Godwin is going to get a lot of catches from Brady, and he's a top 5 player for me. That's Godwin.
Agreed. We're getting close here. We're going to rattle these off. We have a bunch of questions queued up, so we're just going to do these rapid fire. Firefighter 1526, full PPR, need 2 out of OBJ, Juju, Woods, Deontay Johnson. Seems like we're all high on Odell, so someone throw out a second pick there to go along with Odell.
I'm sure I'll go Juju, and Kev will probably go Deontay there.
Yes.
So Odell and then pick one of the Steelers. They're both close for us in rankings. Not a huge difference there. Nick Bastion with Julio out. Jerry Jeudy or Valdez Scantling. MVS there for me. I believe we already answered a similar question, Jonathan, earlier with Big Ben and Aaron Rodgers. We like Big Ben this week, especially with Devontae Adams and on very questionable, if not out. Russell Gage or Mark Ingram. That's going to be Russell Gage for me. Anybody disagree?
Yep.
James wants to know Galladay, AJ Green, or Will Fuller. Kev,
Galladay.
who you? Boom. Coop Dog, Jonnu Smith or Jared Cook?
Jonnu.
A question for our defensive aficionado here. Rams or 49ers D, or can throw in Arizona as well. So Rams, Niners, or Arizona.
Obviously, 49ers have been ravaged. I got to go Rams. I do not believe in that Bills offense as much as they've shown. Arizona is also in a tough matchup.
Steelers or Bears D. I'm going to go Steelers. I think it's hard to sit them.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has been sacked, I think, 8 or 9 times already this year. So.
Yep.
And I mentioned on the Starter Sit show, if you missed that this week, Deshaun Watson has the league worst quarterback passer rating when he is faced with pressure. He's being pressured the 3rd most in the league, and the Steelers are applying the most pressure when it comes to defense. So go Steelers there. Vincent can flex one, but would have to sit Ridley, Godwin, or CD.
Yeah, sit CD.
He can only flex one. I'm confused there. If you're flexing one, I'll still go Chris Godwin, even though Ridley has obviously been on fire. But I'll still go Chris Godwin if you only can.
I think he's saying that he can flex one of the running backs, but you have to sit one of those 3 wide receivers.
Oh
Gotcha.
Yeah, going back to the question earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good recall. Look at that, Kev. Feeding a baby, burping a baby.
Tell you, those dads can do it all.
Down. Just get it all in there. Kev, throw this one to you. Mahomes.
Mahoom?
Mahoom or not in this week?
This one's actually closer than I would expect it to be. I would go Mahomes, but like it is close.
I'm going to throw this one to you, Robby. Coop Dog jumping in once more. Edelman or Thielen at flex?
I'm going to go Thielen, that high over-under, 50 over-under. Give me Thielen.
Kev, the second part of this question, wide receiver Ridley and Amari Cooper for his 1 and 2 spot. Good with that?
Yes.
And then thrown in the flex. Mason Higdon wants to know, is going to be the last question unless we get one more, because this is what I always do. There it is. Amari Cooper or DK? Who you rolling with?
Cooper for me. I like them both. Absolutely love them both, but I'll go Cooper.
Yeah, as we know those questions, like who else you start, and can we not flex DK? Because I love DK. Like DK Metcalf is in a great spot, but I would go Amari.
Nick Stevenson wants to know, going Herbert over Watson today, Waka Flocka Flames. What do you guys think with that one?
So we saw Herbert last week, and he looked really good against the Chiefs, right? And this is a really good matchup because the Panthers' defense is absolutely horrendous, and Watson is in a really tough spot. So I don't hate it, but I would want to know who else is available at quarterback, because I think there's some other quarterbacks that I would feel a little bit more comfortable with playing. But I don't hate it. Like, I can see it. The question is can the Panthers move the football enough to keep them throwing? Because last week, I know you may say, well, you know, they were ahead last week against the Chiefs and they continue to throw the ball, but there's a big difference when the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense on the other side versus Teddy Bridgewater, right? So if the Chargers get up early, that's where I would become concerned that they don't really need to throw the ball. They just run the ball like they want to. They lean on their defense, and Herbert doesn't become much of a great play. Where I could see Watson being trailing in this game, needing to throw the ball, and that's why that I would probably still lean Deshaun Watson.
Robby, any are you going to disagree there?
Absolutely not.
All right. That's going to do it for this week, guys. We appreciate you jumping in. We've been having a lot of fun with this. Make sure, if you are not yet subscribed and you've been rocking with us, if you appreciate the advice that we're giving to you guys, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you are doing that so you get notified of all of our other content coming out. Going to have a bunch of written content hitting the site once again this week. Going to have more video content coming on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at @CKutzerFF. You can find Robby at NFL Robby, and you can find TFA Daddy at Fantasy Rat 13. That is Kevin Steele, the Papa Bear of this here TFA site, and the number one dad in all of your hearts. So good luck week 3. Hope you guys have a good week, and we will see you up. Coop Dog, appreciate the sub. Dreams to reality. Last one here. We're gonna sign off. Hunter Hurts or Zach Ertz in PPR. Who you guys rolling with?
That's Hunter Henry, and I have them back to back. Let's go Hunter Henry in that matchup.
Kev, who you go?
I have Ertz number 3, so I have Hunter Henry ranked 7th, so it's Ertz for me.
Zach Ertz, good luck week 3. See you guys later.